Hello and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Sophia, and if you're not new, then thanks for coming back. I am going to be reading 4 books in this video. They're all very different. Grab a drink, grab a snack, get cozy, and let's get into the reads. Real quick, just a quick car check-in. I'm going to the library right now to return my 2 library books and see what else they have there. So I will check in when I'm done with the library. Just got back from the library and I picked up 3 books that I'd like to talk to you about now, and that will kind of turn into my TBR for this reading vlog. So, the first book that I went to the library looking for, because I had seen it there before, but hadn't really heard too much about it, and then I learned of it, and that there is a show coming out on Netflix, I believe, and that is the graphic novel Nimona by ND Stevenson. This is what it looks like. It looks like a fantasy sort of romp adventure book, full color illustrations, and the drawing, like the art style, is really cute too. So I'm excited to read this. A cute, cozy, fun little very quick read. Even though it is a little bit of a bigger graphic novel, it's not super long. The next book I picked up is The Future Home of the Living God by Louise Erdrich. And Louise Erdrich is a Native American author, and she has written many, many books, but I've never read anything by her before, and I saw that they had this at my library. I was thinking of picking up her newest book, which is The Sentence, but I wanted to read something else by her first, and this I had heard about a little bit, and this is a little bit about of a dystopian thriller with a little Handmaid's Tale-esque with like pregnancy and evolution, science fiction, childbirth. Yeah, so that is on the list. Last book I grabbed from the library is Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. This is a memoir, and take my receipt out of there. This is a memoir. I've heard a lot about it. I've heard a lot of really great things about it, and yeah, I'm excited to read it. And then the last book that I didn't get from the library, but you've heard me talk about before, that I'm going to read in this reading vlog is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I think that in addition to these other kind of heavier books and this other lighter fantasy sort of novel, graphic novel, that like this is a nice little stack. 4 different genres, 4 very different books, and that's kind of been the vibe I've been going for lately. So that is the plan for this reading vlog. Stay tuned to see if I read all of them and my thoughts. I just pulled my bookmark out, so now I don't know where I was reading. All right. Book update number 1 for The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I was so nervous that after not picking up this book for a really long time, that it would not fill the gap that I was leaving for it in my heart, but so far, I mean, I'm at least 100 pages in, like page 120, and I really like it. Basic premise is there's a caseworker named Linus who follows the rules, sticks to his book, and he works for the department in charge of magical children, or magical youth, and he visits orphanages and makes sure that they're running smoothly, and he gets tasked with visiting this orphanage, which has some unique children and cases there, and he is kind of baffled. all the characters are super cute. We've at the point in the story where I am, we've met the children at this particular orphanage, and they are just, I've worked with kids for a really long time in my previous careers, and there's something about the way that this author captures like the chaos, but also the sweetness that comes with working with children, and so that has really been sweet and enjoyable to read, and I'm just excited to keep reading it. The way it's written is very like no nonsense, but also kind of cheeky, and that really makes me happy, and I'm just excited to learn more about this world and this book and see what happens with the characters. I know that this is supposed to have some LGBTQ plus rep in it, so I'm excited to see how that develops because I can already see a little bit of twinkling there, and yeah, I'm just so excited to keep reading it. Coming to you live from the floor right now because it's too hot to do anything else. I wanted to do a little reading check-in because I have been so enthralled with this book. I mean, I'm getting close to the end and I don't want it to end. And so before I power through the end of it, I needed to share what else I've been thinking about it. Where do I even start? This book is so endearing. Like, it pulls at the heartstrings, it's funny, it's charming, it just is everything that I wanted, and it makes me so happy. I don't know how it's gonna end. I can already feel that it's probably gonna be a tearjerker, and I don't know if I don't think that this is a part of a series. I think that this is a standalone, so I just don't want it to end, and it's so good. See what else TJ Klune writes about. So I am going to binge the end of this book while sitting in front of a fan and drinking a cold LaCroix, and hopefully it's a 5-star read and then I can start something else. Literally have not wanted to skip a single page, and I've been forcing myself to stop and take breaks because I would have just been sitting in the backyard avoiding all of my bodily functions and responsibilities to read this book. So now that I'm fed and I've cleaned up the house just like a teensy bit, as much as I can when it's too hot out, we're gonna get back to this book. So. Okay, I just finished this book. It's perfect in every way. I don't have words right now, but I'll get coherent and talk about it in a different clip, but yeah. Okay, welcome back to my floor, because yesterday I finished The House in the Cerulean Sea, and this book was everything that I wanted it to be. It was sweet, it was powerful, it was moving, it was funny and cute, and just I could go on. Needless to say, this is going to be a 5 out of 5 stars for me. And I think that I need to go read everything else that TJ Klune has written. If you want chosen family, quirky characters, morality, like trying to figure out how to do the right thing and what you're willing to risk to do the right thing, this is a good book, and this is the perfect book for that. So a very strong way to start off the TBR. And now I am on to Nimona, which is a graphic novel that I started last night. I'm on page 50. And this is actually going to be a animated movie on Netflix soon. So I am intrigued about it. I had heard a little bit about the graphic novel before I started it, and I knew they had it at my library, so I wanted to pick it up. So far, it's very simply written. It's about a teenager kid named Nimona. She's here on the front. You can see her. And she can shapeshift, and she wants to be a sidekick for this villain in this world that is both fantasy and medieval, but also has technology. The world is interesting, and they are investigating the institution, which is the government, essentially, that runs all of the magical and heroic creatures in this world. So I'm gonna get cozy with some iced tea because it's too hot for regular tea. The art style is pretty cute. It's very simple. One thing that I say I am having a little bit of a hard time with, maybe because I started it last night and it was late and my eyes were tired, but one thing I was having a little bit of trouble with was reading the handwriting. Because it is not a font, it is a handwriting, and in some sections, I'll try to find a page where here's one. Like, the text is on a dark background with white text, and it's a little bit hard to read, but it is full color, which I am very pleased by. And I'm kind of hoping that this is going to give me some similar, like, found family, chosen friends shenanigans, like House in the Cerulean Sea did. Slightly different vibe, totally different type of book, but fun all the same. So, let's get into it. Okay, I want to try something new. I am trying a little bit of a new look, and I just want to get cute for the day because I have nowhere else to be, and I do want to do my makeup, but I also want to chat about Nimona because I finished it last night and it was pretty good. Good thing I have more bobby pins at the ready. First thing that I want to talk about the book is that it almost, like, weirdly goes perfectly with the other book that I just read, The House in the Cerulean Sea. It's kind of about a character who's been told that she's a freak or a monster because she has shape-shifting powers, and that is Nimona, and she wants to be the sidekick for this supervillain named Ballister Blackheart, and he has a arch nemesis who they have a little bit of a history, but he has an arch nemesis named Ambrosius Goldenloin, I think. I didn't really get a lot of the world. Like, it was kind of hard to tell, like, who had access to technology and science and who had access to magic. But also, I think that that's fine for the short little novel that it was. I think part of it, too, is I know that this book is being made into a movie, and it's coming out soon. In fact, once this goes up, it might already be out, so if you've read the book and seen the movie as well, then let me know your thoughts because I'm curious what other people are thinking. I mean, I obviously haven't seen it yet. It looks fun. My only gripe is that some of the some of the writing is hard to read, like I said last time. The ending just felt a little rushed. I feel like all the things happened that I felt needed to happen. It was cute. I mean, I would recommend it as like a cute little found family, team up, chosen family sort of story, kind of like House in the Cerulean Sea. I mean, I think House in the Cerulean Sea is like the perfect book, so I'm not going to try to compare the two too much. Yeah, I thought it was a solid little book, and I definitely recommend it. I saw this like peacock eye makeup the other day, and I'm intrigued by it, but I'm also a little hesitant because I think that might be a little strong for what I'm going for right now. But so the book that I think I'm going to read next, that I'll probably start tonight, is The Future Home of the Living God by Louise Erdrich. That one is supposed to be a little bit more of like a dystopian psychological childbirth thriller, so I'm intrigued to see how that goes. With this type of hair and like makeup, I always feel like it looks like I'm going to be on stage. Like, it feels very much like a ballet recital kind of look, which, you know, has its moments, but I haven't been in a ballet recital since I was like 15, so we're not necessarily gonna go for that. Problem with me too is like I have very large eyes on my face, and so I feel like no matter what I do, it looks like I am wearing too much eye makeup. I don't know what's going on. So we're just gonna put some mascara on and call it a day. If I wear mascara on my bottom lashes, like, it makes my eyes just like look humongous, and that's not always the vibe that I'm going for. It's a little dark. I think that this is going to be the final look. Okay, I will chat in another clip when I have an update on The Future Home of the Living God. Hello! I wanted to do a little bit of a check-in because I started Future Home of the Living God. First of all, the edition that my library has is a signed first edition. Like, I want to know who at my library is getting the signed pages of this book. Anyways, I haven't read anything by this author before. She has a lot of books. She's written a lot, and I haven't read anything else. And so I am intrigued to see if I like her writing style. So far, the premise is that there is a woman named Cedar who is supposed to be like 26, and she is Native American and was adopted into a white family as a child, or as a baby, and she received a letter from her birth mother, and she is going to meet her birth mother for the first time. She is also 4 months pregnant, but hasn't told anybody yet. The primary story is right now she's meeting her biological mother, and she wants to know about like genetic diseases, illnesses, etc., etc. But there is kind of this like secondary layer that is happening in the background that we're still figuring out about. Like, something is happening. Like, they haven't said what it is. They're just like, her family was worried about her driving far, and like that there's something going on in the world around them, but we haven't figured out what that is yet. I know this is like a dystopian, so, and it has to do with birth and it has to do with childbirth and pregnancy and things like that. So I'm intrigued to see where it goes from here. I am still very early on. I don't even think I'm on page 25. So those are all the things I have learned in the first section. It is a little, the writing style is a little hit or miss for me right now. I just haven't gotten used to it yet. It is a little like stream of consciousness kind of explanations. So part of that also I think is because I don't know what's going on in the world around the character right now, and that is a little disorienting, but I'm excited to figure out more and to learn about the world and these characters and what they're up to. So I will do some more reading. Hello. I am done with my workday and I want to get some reading done. The problem is I'm not liking my book. This is the book, and I'm on page 55 or so, and so far not much has happened. There's something weird going on in the world at the same time. We don't know what that is yet. It's all been very ominous and like not necessarily like pandemic kind of stuff, because I think that would be a little bit more obvious, but it's more like something is happening to people and like evolution, but we're not really clear like what that is. And I don't think I like the writing style. I've never read anything by Louise Erdrich before, and I don't know if this is super representative of her writing, but the main character is supposed to be kind of young, like 25, and is pregnant, and so the book is her writing this experience out for her unborn baby. But she explains everything. Like, there's just so many words. Like, 1 year ago, perhaps thinking that my lack of ambition regarding a degree stemmed from a confusion about my origins, perhaps thinking who knows what, Sarah decided to give me a letter that she had received from my biological mom. Like, I just feel like that's so many more words than necessary. And, like, this is the second page. Like, look at the paragraphs. And, like, I'm having a hard time. And because we don't know anything, like, and we're not getting a lot of information, I'm having a hard time, like, wanting to read this book. So I don't want to DNF it because I've heard really good things about this author, but maybe this just is not the right book to start with. So if you've read this book and you like it, why? And sometimes she gets really like philosophical while she's talking, and like she goes on about like human nature and like human suffering, and like sometimes it's a little too much. I am going to try to keep reading this, but my hopes are not high, and that has been frustrating that this is not what I thought it was going to be. We shall continue reading, and I will check back in when I have another update. Okay, I'm doing it. I am DNFing Future Home of the Living God. I just don't have the attention span for it right now. I don't have the patience to wait it out and see if it gets good. I'm just not into it. So I'm gonna return it to the library, see if maybe there's something else there. Maybe I'm feeling kind of like I want to read like a romance or like a rom-com of some kind. So I'm returning that and Nimona. I still have Crying in Mart, so I'm gonna try to read that next, and I have heard much better things about that. So okay, it is sometime later. I have finished my workday, and I wanted to show you which book I picked up at the library. I wasn't sure if I was going to actually get a book or not. I kind of was thinking of not, and then I was just kind of browsing the fiction section, and I saw Outlawed by Anna North. And this is a book that I was influenced to add to my TBR. This was also the impetus for me wanting to read The Good Luck Girls, because I had heard that this is like female cowboys, dystopian world outlaws. All I know about this book is that it's about a society where, or alternate history kind of society, where women are expected to give birth, and if you are unable to give birth for whatever reason, you are outlawed. At least that's my basic premise. I feel like this is gonna give me what I wanted from Future Home of the Living God, because that was also supposed to be like a dystopian pregnancy things, but this is also Western, which I feel like is better. And also this cover is very cool. Except I'm not gonna start reading that right now. I'm going to start reading Crying in H Mart because this one is due at the library first. I'm hoping that because it's a memoir that it goes by pretty quickly. So I'm just gonna sit, have a snack, and get to reading. I'll check back in when I have an update. It has also been a few days since I decided to not finish DNF, the Future Home of the Living God. I keep wanting to call it the Once and Future King, but that's not it. So I have been reading Crying in H Mart since then, and today I got through a good chunk of it. I'm now on page 93, and this is a memoir about a young woman whose mom passes away, and she kind of recalls the story of taking care of her and their kind of fraught relationship and what that's like. She's half Korean, and it's all about her relationship with her mother and her family and things like that. Sorry, it's really hot here, and so my brain is kind of like short-circuiting, but she's very honest about her relationship with her mother and like how she was not the best daughter, but also her mom had some problems, and so, you know, just the tension of that relationship is very obvious. And, you know, at the point now where she's starting to care for her mother has been diagnosed with cancer, and so it is emotional watching her try to figure out how to care for her mother. Whoa. But yeah, so far I'm really liking this. I've heard good things. I've heard the audiobook is really good too because the author narrates it. I don't think I'm gonna have time to do that, so I'm gonna keep reading this today, and hopefully I can get to my next book and we can wrap up this reading vlog soon, because this has taken me quite a bit longer than I wanted. So Alright, it is some time later, and I just wanted to check in because I finished Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. I thought it was really good. I was a little too sweaty to cry, but I do think that under different circumstances I probably would have. It's very emotional, a very raw representation of what it's like to lose a parent, and I actually had no idea that she's like a pretty well-renowned musician, and I'm gonna have to listen to some of her music, but she's also a really great writer. The main storyline that she's telling is well interspersed with like past anecdotes and things like that, and I thought she did like those felt very natural, as opposed to sometimes in memoirs it can feel a little disjointed with like hopping back and forth. But I thought that this was really well done. It has a lot to do with food, so this book will probably make you very hungry. A lot about Korean food and cuisine and cooking, and how food can both heal and you know, hold memories and connect you to people, whether they're alive or no longer alive. Really good, definitely recommend. And it's not too long. One thing I liked about this book is that the pages are really thick. So it feels like a much longer book, but it's only 239 pages, even though it looks quite thick. So I feel like that was a really good read, and I'm very pleased that I finished it, and I finished it much quicker than the other book that I gave up on. So I am now going to turn to the last book of this video, which is Outlawed by Anna North. Hello, I just wanted to check in because I watched Nimona last night, which I read in this vlog. The Netflix movie is out and I watched it and it was so good. It doesn't exactly stay true to the story in the novel, but I think that they did a really good adaptation. I think that in some parts it actually makes more sense the way that they went with it, as opposed to some of the things that were in the book that I talked about, how I felt like the ending was a little bit rushed and maybe there were some things that I didn't totally understand. I think that the movie did a really good job. The voice acting is great. The animation is great. It was pretty good. And I really liked it. It was funny, but it was also like heartfelt. So I definitely recommend giving it a watch if you have Netflix. All right, it is much later. I just finished dinner and I have a little LaCroix and I'm going to start reading. Oh, I hit myself in the tooth. I'm gonna start reading Outlawed by Anna North. Okay, I am on page 36 of Outlawed, and I wanted to talk really quickly about the premise before I plow through, because I have a feeling I'm going to read this book pretty quickly. It's pretty short. This is an alternative history set in 1894, and in the 1830s there was this great flu or plague that took out a large swath of the population, and so now pregnancy and babies are like, I don't want to say currency, but like that's what's really valued. And so there's the expectation that, you know, there's rights that you can have after you have 3 children, and of course it all falls on the mother. It's not ever looked at if the father can or cannot have children, but the main character, Ada, her mom is a midwife and she gets married and she is unable to get pregnant, and she tries to solve this, but women who cannot conceive or miscarry too many times are perceived as witches, and so in order to prevent herself from being branded as a witch, she voluntarily goes to a convent, which is where she is now, and she's learning more about science and like what could potentially cause barrenness, and also what women do when they don't want to be pregnant. Again, I'm on page 36, so it's like very early on in the story. This is all just like setting the scene. I do like this sort of alternative history kind of premise, and I'm intrigued to see where it goes from here. So I'm gonna keep reading and have a popsicle, I think, because it's still too hot out. Happy weekend. I am determined to finish Outlawed today. Things are happening. I think the last thing I said was that the main character got banished from her town and taken in by a convent. She has joined a notorious gang and is working to become part of that gang and gain more knowledge and understanding about barrenness. She's still trying to learn about why people are barren. I'm gonna drink my coffee and finish this book. Dang it. Okay, that brings us to the end of this video. I just finished Outlawed by Anna North, and I enjoyed it. It definitely was a lot darker than I thought it was going to be. Content warnings in this for suicide, you know, pregnancy, miscarriage, abortion, mutilation, and, you know, awful punishment. I was not expecting that, but it all kind of tied in with the story. It made sense, I guess. The plot was pretty good. It's a pretty short book, so I was kind of impressed by how much the author was able to pack into a short little book. It is definitely like an interesting what the world could be, but also I think that it's more of like an adventure story than anything. It doesn't totally feel like a political commentary book by any means. It's definitely more of like a cow person book, and this book came out pretty recently, actually. It is a 2021 release, which I thought it was older, but yeah, if you're interested in reading like a alternate history, outlaw, cow people, ranching, highway robbery, stick 'em up, with a sprinkle of misogyny, then this book is for you. I liked it. I wouldn't say it like blew my mind by any means, and there definitely were some heavy parts, so yeah, that brings us to the end of this video. If you stuck around for this long, thank you. Be sure to subscribe so you see more video content from me. And if you want to see my art and the art shop that I'm planning to launch soon, be sure to follow me on Instagram. And with that, I hope you have a good day, and I will see you in the next one.